50 years ago, Movietone News first came to the cinema screens, bringing the first news pictures with sound to Britain. One of the earlier stories was Mr. Ramsay MacDonald introducing members of his cabinet.
Movietone News and impressed the public suddenly with the fact that the newsreel was a document of history.
May I introduce to you the members of the cabinet who have been chosen for very hard work.
Then suddenly, on January the 20th, 1936, the King died. Shall we ever forget the sorrow which his passing inspired? And we followed him to his tomb in St. George's Chapel, knowing that we had lost something great.
With Movietone's pictures, the whole nation was able to pay homage.
But to us, 1936 will remain the year of royal sorrow. After King George's death, the poignant story of his successor.
Edward VIII gave up the throne for the woman he loved, Mrs. Wallis Simpson. Movietone was there to record the coronation pictures of King George VI. And at Buckingham Palace, the two little princesses waved from the balcony. War seemed imminent, but Neville Chamberlain was optimistic.
We regard the agreement signed last night and the Anglo-German naval agreement as symbolic of the desire of our two peoples never to go to war with one another again.
The newsreel cameras went to war. The evacuation of Dunkirk. The Battle of Britain. The Blitz. The convoy. The war in North Africa, and then
Normandy. With Monty and with Winston Churchill.
Almost right up to the end, London and southern England had been under fire. London certainly had as much right as anywhere to celebrate victory, and London certainly did.
A filmed history of a world at war, captured by newsreel cameramen. Film reports were received from anywhere news was happening. And today, we pay tribute to all newsreels throughout the world. The effort put in by cameramen, sound recordists, film editors, and all the backroom boys who worked on producing the film is best portrayed on the screen itself. At the Grand National in 1956, the Queen Mother's horse Devon Lock was in the lead, but it suddenly took a surprise leap just before the finish and was out of the race. ESB went on to win. In 1952, the race to save the Flying Enterprise, wallowing off the Cornish coast, on board Captain Carlson and his first mate Ken Dancy. The weather worsened and the valiant struggle to save the ship was all in vain. In the state of Washington, the Tacoma Bridge had a nickname. They called her Galloping Gertie, an engineering freak, which every time a gale blew, provided sensational newsreel pictures. That is, until one day the wind proved too strong. Disaster.
Scarcely 100 feet above ground, the giant airship with her framework encasing 7 million cubic feet of inflammable gas is being carefully maneuvered towards her hangar, when suddenly
bombing of Monte Cassino. The Benedictine monastery had been part of the Germans' defense line, holding up the Allied advance through Italy. The sinking of the battleship Barham.
Heavily, she was on her beam ends within 4 minutes. Then her after magazine blew up.
During the war years, Movietone added a touch of humor. British Movietone News celebrates its golden anniversary with this final edition, a tribute to the newsreel personnel who have recorded history on film for 50 years. This is Movietone.